So after watching this episode, I'm going to call Morgan catty. The official definition of catty is someone who is deliberately hurtful in one's remarks and spiteful. I mean, need I say more? Anyway, Catty met with her friend from the convent. Just kidding. But I think if she could have gotten that turtleneck any higher, she would have. So Catty told her friend that she found out from Alexis that Ben has been talking to Weeping Willow about her. So get this, Weeping Willow talks to Ben on speakerphone with Alexis in earshot, which is messy as hell, Weeping Willow. Come on. This is why the show isn't called Friends at First Sight, because a true friend is not going to have you on speakerphone with his wife in the room when you are venting about her friend. So Catty said that Alexis said, I know you're a good person, but the person Ben is making you out to be is the complete opposite. But how do you know she's a good person behind closed doors with her husband, Alexis? So Catty is sitting there kind of smug, like telling her friend the story about how she told Ben she knows what he said because Alexis told her, then like stormed off and wouldn't tell him what she knows. That apparently a few minutes later, Alexis contacted her and said Ben is in the apartment sitting right next to her. I mean, who needs a home wrecking machine when you have friends like Weeping Willow and Alexis? So Catty is bragging now to her friend about how he FaceTimed her and I was not calm, I was not mature, I let him have it. So she cussed Ben out for going to Alexis to find out what was said instead of her. He should have come to me. This man never had a chance. Ben chased you out of the apartment to ask you what Alexis said, but you just kept saying, everything, everything. But now you got the nerve to be mad because he doesn't have that conversation with you instead of Alexis? Catty, I haven't seen this skill level of handling a relationship since high school. Every man you meet is not your father, boo-boo. Your father didn't step up and do what you asked him to do, so you cut him off. So now any man who disappoints you gets to meet your wall, get cussed out, and cut off too? So later, Catty goes to kickboxing to let off some steam. To the confessional camp, she says, Ben and I aren't good anymore. Tomorrow, Ben and I are going to the place where we got married to renew our vows, and I'm definitely going to give him some vows tomorrow. I'm going to tell Ben a lot tomorrow. Ben doesn't know what's coming. You would think Ben had an affair with her turtleneck friend or something. She already cussed him out multiple times, but she's still raging. So the next day, Ben is standing at their wedding venue holding a bouquet of roses and being all hopeful to the confessional cam, just a smiling and optimistic, looking cute as a little button, not knowing if she's still mad or not. Catty comes stomping around the corner like a linebacker in a bridesmaid's dress, hasn't calmed down at all. Ben hands her the flowers and she pretends to take them and lets them fall to the ground like, psych! Another move I haven't seen since high school. And then she proceeds to read them like she's in the middle of a soap opera, like all dramatic. I wrote my original vows and I was excited. I was excited to meet you. I was excited because I thought I was meeting someone who was going to care for me, be my partner, be on my side and have my back at all times. You're not that man. I'm giving you this one opportunity to explain yourself, to really explain it and have a real conversation with me for once. For once? What does that mean? This man has gotten vulnerable with you and dug deep to share how his past has affected his current while you just sit there stone-faced. So anyway, Ben is standing there with his mouth open so long that his spit has seeped out and dried up on his little lips, because all he was trying to do was confide in someone who understood what he was going through. But Catty won't let him get a word in and still bringing up the nurse misunderstanding situation. Do you realize that Weeping Willow talks to you on speakerphone and Alexis hears everything? And Alexis was singing like a bird, spilling all your tea, Ben. Ben still couldn't get a word in, and she just kept cutting him off, like, I only went to Weeping Willow after I told you not to. And, well, Miguel was for, and you went to Miguel, too. You don't even hear how that sounds. Well, but I only went to Weeping Willow, but I also went to Miguel. Do you see how that sounds right now? You're not even owning up to any of the stuff. Meanwhile, poor Ben didn't know what to say or how and was just standing there with white spit built up all over his mouth like he just blew a bubble with Bubblicious. So she storms off and talks to her producer, and for whatever reason, Ben went after her, like, let her go already. So he owned up to everything and apologized for everything, which convinced her to sit down. To the confessional cam, he says, I feel like I can't do anything right. Like, I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. And I'm fighting an uphill battle that I can't see the top of. So she's sitting at the table just shooting darts at him with her eyes, and he apologizes again. And it took a lot for Ben to suck up all that heat she brought and just simply apologize. Like, no, seriously, Ben, I tip my wig to you on that one. Meanwhile, she's accusing him of putting Weeping Willow in the middle of their marriage, but not acknowledging how she dragged Alexis right in next to him. So then Caddy has the nerve to say, I'm going to continue to go through this process, and you are going to continue to show up every single day, because I want you to see me every single day, and I want you to remember, and I want you to know how much you hurt me. What kind of hostage movie are you trying to produce? This sounds scary. No thank you. No one is trying to stick around for your punishment, ma'am. Anyway, what else are you bringing to the table besides walls, rage, and granny heels? So to the confessional cam, she said she's not sure where she's at this point. She's hoping the experts can help. Girl, you don't need an expert. You need an annulment. Go on and go. Go.
All right, party people. We are back again. Welcome. Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 10, Month Anniversaries. I played that clip for you guys, and I tried to do it in another way where I could put the video, but I messed it all up. I mean, I did a whole hour video on this, and it's gone. So I'm redoing this, and please bear with me. So yeah, I played this clip for you guys because I want you to hear the disparaging way that people are talking about Morgan, and I actually don't think it's fair. I'm going to put some clips up and to hopefully give some context to what she's saying, and you make up your own mind. Get information. Don't just sit and listen. If you go and look at the comments, I'm going to put that video in my description. I want you to go and look at the comments so you get a understand of what I'm talking about. These people listen to her, and they think that she knows what she's talking about. And she's really being unfair to Morgan. I don't like it when women do that to each other, and I'm not even like a Morgan fan, but I'm not her enemy, either in this case, looking at the relationship. Because I really don't like nurses, and I'll do a story time, on that, on another video. So, what was she saying? She was talking about, Morgan's attitude. She was talking about how sorry she felt, for Ben, not understanding that Ben disrespected his wife. He did it on the honeymoon, and he just did it again. So that's 2 times in a month. And you have to realize, and I'm sure, rational people do, these people don't know each other. They've been put in the situation by their own, actions. And now they have to figure out, who is this person that I'm married to? And she's asked him specifically not to do something. And both times, he turned around and did it anyway, with the same person. And Justin should have told them, man, if your wife don't, want us to be, having this conversation, maybe you need to go and talk to her. Or maybe you need to go talk to the experts. Give him somewhere to go. Be that kind of friend, to him. Because now his wife is involved in it. So, he had been on speakerphone. Alexis heard it. She said she told Ben, you need to talk to your wife about this. And then she told Morgan. And so Morgan, instead of making a space so that she and Ben could talk about this, should have brought the experts in so that they could talk about this. And she just made bad decisions. She walked out, didn't give Ben any explanations about what she's talking about. I heard, well, Alexis told me everything, by the way, and then she's gone. And so now she's upset because Alexis is called and said, Ben is here, with us. She's like, well, what are you doing, over there with him? And because he wanted to know what were you talking about? So he had to go and ask Alexis because you weren't available for him to find out, that information. So in the clip, in the scene, they showed us, and she told him to please leave the apartment so that they could have this conversation, without them. And so, from what I'm understanding, that was the last time that she and Ben had conversation, with each other. So when we moved to the scene with the roses, you know, he's saying that he's still expecting to have an anniversary with her. To me, that was ignorant because this woman is really mad at you and y'all really haven't settled, anything. And so why would you think that this is actually going to be a real date night, for you guys? And so she came ready, for battle. And then in their back and forth, and I'm not going to go into detail because, like I said, I'm going to clip it, for you guys. So I'm just kind of going over it right now. But she realized that he really wasn't getting what she's saying he did to her. It wasn't computing. So she felt like he's not hearing me, so there's no reason for me to even be standing here talking. So she was like, okay, I'm gone. Then production stopped her and encouraged her to go back and have a conversation with him. And she told him, yeah, cousin, if I figure out that you lying to me, I got to go. And so they sat down, and Ben finally confessed that he was talking to Justin. He was telling her that he wasn't talking to Justin. And, that breaks her trust because she asked him not to do it. I don't see what is so confusing, about that, and why everybody is so, negative, about her. And why, anyway. So, what else? I have my notes. They didn't go to the dinner party. Neither one of them. And I thought that was wise. I really did. It was just they didn't feel like talking about it, and they need to hash this out amongst themselves before they bring it up, in a group discussion. Because bringing it up in a group when you got all this going on is not going to solve any problems. And she's, okay, mad at Ben. She throws the roses down. Said she lied to my face. She still wants to be in a marriage. I didn't understand that conversation that she did at the end there. That was confusing. She's mad, and I don't think that she knows which direction they're going to be able to go in. So, but she did say that she still wanted to stay married. Ben is, in my opinion, in this episode, I think he's being a baby. I think he needs to stand up, man up. You got to have the high end on your beta, Ben. You can't just sit there with your tail between your legs, as you're being scolded. You need to get some synapses together. You're an engineer, so you can figure this out. This is the whole thing about people with these high educations. You giving people the impression that you can ascertain and comprehend what's happening in your life. And so we see that this is a deficit with Ben. This is probably why he hasn't been able to be in a relationship. Let me see. Mr. talking to Justin. Okay. Yes. So I did. I think I said what I wanted to say, and then she actually covered, what happened in the episode. She just did it in a sarcastic way. So I'm going to move on to Alexis and Justin. This is really hard, for me. The dinner scene was just hard. I mean, I kind of saw it from both sides. Alexis didn't see Justin look over at her when she was making her face. So when he asked her, what was going on, she was like, oh, I'm cool. And he said, well, you got something you want to share? And she said, no, I just want to listen. And so that made him feel some kind of way. And he wanted to continue the discussion when he should have just said, mentally to himself, okay, I'll talk to her about it when we get back to the apartment. But no, Justin couldn't do that. And Justin doesn't understand that he has a issue with his articulation. He thinks he's being clear, and he's not. Because she was asking him some valid things. She's like, I don't understand why you are here. And I'm not upset. If I was upset, you and everybody else at this table, would know what's going on. And she said, no, I'm all right. And I don't understand why you're at this level. And so it's his fear. So he's like, well, I thought we were doing okay. I thought we were in a good place and this, that, and the third. She's like, okay, if that's the way you feel, then be in those feelings. I'm not telling you that what you're feeling is wrong. I just am not in a position where I want to talk. And he just didn't want to understand that. And it was just really frustrating for me. Just ruined a dinner with him being, just, it was really needy. And it was just a wrong moment for him to display that kind of behavior, when he could have just held it in the cut and just waited until they got home. It was just, and then on the after show, Rudy asked her, well, how was the drive home? And she said, well, we were on the party bus. And then it said that Justin was up in the front with the driver while everybody else was, back in the back. Again, I see it. He needed space. He wasn't comfortable being back there with everybody else. So he just kind of wanted to have that time for himself. And I think it would have been better if he had just caught a cab back, to tell you the truth, and just left it. But that's, me. I thought that was, I want him to be able to move through his feelings when he's in a situation that calls for different action. So then when you get home or when you move out of that situation into a different space, then you can kind of go there into your feelings. I've had to learn, how to do that. So I'm very sensitive, and I've had to learn how to do self-regulation, in my own emotions. So I do understand what Alexis is talking about with Justin, and she does have a valid point. Justin, you need to listen, and you need to get out of your head, man, and just start figuring out how you can get out of this hole, because you're still digging, and you're just digging yourself in deeper. So now you have to make a decision. How can I effectively get out of this situation? And I thought that they didn't go on a date, but I thought that their communication, when they were doing their crafts, they were doing kind of like this memory book, for the both of them. And he was saying that he didn't think that they had time, to overcome the hurdles that they have encountered. And she said, no, I think that we do have, time. This is something that we can do, if we just come together. And it was really interesting, because you would have thought that she would have been the one, she would have agreed with him, or at least given him that energy, like, child, you. But it was like the energy she had at the party. That when she was looking like, okay, you giving this guy accolades, you need to be trying to learn from him to find out how you can do better instead of just praising him. So she had that thought in her head, and that's what was on her face. But I actually think that she did the right thing by not saying anything, because I've always been told, and I haven't always followed it, but the saying is, if you can't say anything nice to somebody, then don't say anything. And she chose not to say anything, and Justin just couldn't respect that. So she told him that she feels like he's Jekyll and Hyde, and she wants the person that she was with on the honeymoon. I mean, Alexis was really into Justin on the honeymoon. I was kind of scared. I didn't know, what was going on. But yeah, Justin, you need to go tap back into that joke, because that's what she liked. She don't like this person that you're displaying to her now. And if you don't switch it up and do something with this joker, you're not going to be able to be successful in his marriage. She also was encouraging him, to not just focus on the bad stuff, go back and look at some of the good stuff, that they've gone through, and kind of tap into that, energy. And so we're going to talk about Miguel and Lindy. I don't have much for them. They went on a boat date, and that was good. They had a good time, with that for their month anniversary. She's satisfied that he's trying. And when they got their vows, the vows and the photos that they sent to them for their anniversary of the month, she said that he was living up to his vows. And she feels like he's open to a future relationship, and she can see herself falling in love with him. And when they were going over the pictures, Lindy was kind of giving him the backstory as to kind of where she was on that day and in the frame. And so he wasn't feeling the same kind of anxiety that she does. And he felt like that when she was kind of communicating that she was being negative. And I didn't see it as being negative. I just saw her as communicating where she was. That if she's not showing terror in the picture, she's like, man, look, I know I was sitting there with you and we was, sipping on champagne, but in my head, I was terrified, So that's just what I took it as. So I was a little disappointed in Miguel that he couldn't be big enough to just listen to what she's saying and not assign any kind of emotion to it. Be like, oh, okay, thanks for sharing, kind of thing, Just really, he gets on my nerves sometimes. I like Miguel, but he does get on my nerves. So she said that this was the healthiest relationship that she's ever been in. I thought that was really great. So she says that she is using the respect that she has for Miguel to help her in her temper so that she doesn't be inappropriate, when she's talking, with him. So I think that's really, important too. I don't remember them having anything to say at the dinner party. They were just kind of quiet about what was going on with them, because once Alexis and Justin had their thing, the night was pretty much, a wrap. So let's look at Nate and Stacia. I think Nate does a lot of double talk, really. He's kind of back and forth, like with this whole love thing. He told her, I love you, and it's real. Then the next few weeks, now it's a 4, and we got to grow up. And then the next week, he's back in love, and he can see them, a future. So I'm really kind of confused, with Nate. He wants a dog, but then when it came to but Christian's dog, he was looking at it like, well, what is this dog doing? Dogs hump. They get in heat. Even sometimes when they're fixed, they still do stuff like that. My cat is fixed, and he still does stuff like that, It's really weird. It's weird, but it's what animals do. So I don't understand why Nate was so confused, by it. He says he wants a dog, but then you don't know dog behavior. I wouldn't trust Nate with the dog. So Stacia I think she was wise to have this as a trial, so she could see how he is encountering, with the dog, whether or not he's doing his part to take him out and to feed him and do different things. That's something that she would need to see, as well. So when Nate was talking in the previous episodes about Stacia and him having to see how she's going to, deal with things like children and pets, he needs to be observed, in that area as well. And so he signed a post-nup, which I thought was really good. He also got tattoos with the anniversary date. So those are 2 actionable things that he did to show that he's committed and that he is interested in being in this relationship with her. So I hope that that's something that Stacia can use to help her while she's trying to figure out their relationship and how she feels. And so when he told her that he was in love with her during this episode, instead of a 4, so now he's at a 7 or 8. And she was really happy, about it. I'm glad that she was happy. So this is her situation, not mine. I would have been side-eyeing him. I'm just like I'm side-eyeing him now. But anyway, it's her thing. And you can go look at the clip. It's there. And you can hear the dialogue and the conversation, that they had. I thought that she has been taking this, fairly well. He has communicated to her, and she's allowed him. Just let it be open and hear what he has to say, and hasn't really assigned anything to it. She's taking in the information. She was talking with her mom, and she was saying that she just wants him to be open. She wants to know that this is the authentic human being that she's married to, because when she starts to put, herself into this, and then she finds out that he has been playing her, it's going to put her in a bad space. So I hope they can, come together. But Nate needs to, I don't know what's going on with him. He's a question mark to me, because at the dinner when it was their turn to talk, he was saying that she's his best friend, and see that to me didn't sound genuine. I don't you she. This is just all over the place, for me. You've been married to this woman for a month, and how is it possible for her to be your best friend? So I can see him in a couple of weeks saying something crazy, forgetting that he just called her his best friend and all this love stuff that he talking. And then there's a clip that I put in there that shows upcoming events throughout the season. And I invite you guys to go and look at it. Watch it all the way down to the end. And you tell me what you think, about Nate. And so, what else do I have? I said, did you post up? Luna talked about the mom. I didn't see him talking to anybody this episode. If I missed that, then I apologize. Okay, and that's about it. That's all I got. And so we're going to do Christian and Mitch. Christian and Mitch. Good deal. I really like Mitch this episode. So, and then on the after show, he did really well. I thought he communicated himself well. One of the people that was on there with him really gave him accolades for his self-awareness. And when he was at the dinner with Christian, and she was, communicating herself to him, he really took that well. And he gave her a very cogent and well-spoken response. And that's when Justin, was giving him praise. And then that whole thing started, with him and Alexis. So, yeah, Mitch dressed up, had on actual shoes. Put on a suit with a shirt. Really nice. He looked nice. So I'm really pulling, for him and Christian. He said on the after show that he wanted us to not, to count them out. And Alexis was, and I know that I should have said this on her part, but I'm just remembering that she said it. She said that, it seems like, when we're watching the episode, that it's like, oh, wow, this girl, she is not going to want to be bothered with him. But she said she's still hopeful. She still has hope. She's still showing up for the marriage. She also said that they tried to consummate the marriage, and that wasn't it. They weren't able to rise to the occasion, and she didn't elaborate. So I can't give anything else. With Christian and Mitch for their anniversary, they went on a little retreat, like meditation. That had like yoga, and then they had massages. So that was really good. Christian said that she just wanted it to be a time to relax. She didn't want any stress of the experiment. She just wanted to have a moment and then come back to and jump in, to the craziness. So hopefully that was something that brought them together, because when you see them at the dinner, and at the end of the episode, they were gelling. They were gelling. Even though she was, perturbed at something, that he said, she was able to explain herself, and then he was able, like I said, to give her a good, response. So that was good. He is aware that he is being extra, because they got their box with their wedding photo and the vows. And she read hers, and they both agreed that she is actually living up to her vows. Then when he actually read his, he saw that he hasn't been that level of person, to her. He has been judgmental. He's been short. He's been, what did he say? He didn't want to sound like he was on his high horse. But Mitch, that's exactly what you've been sounding like. And even though I can understand where you're coming from, I can also see that people who are not as devoted to the environment, they don't feel the same way that you feel about the environment. So when you come, it's almost like you sound like a Christian, you sound like a religious person who just wants to spread their knowledge. of something that they think is good, but it's like at a level that people, it's over their heads and they're not interested in it at your level. And you're just going to have to be able to kind of go back and forth, with that, and try to help people understand what it is that you understand about the environment and what things that we can do to take care of it. So hopefully this will help him be able to message better as he goes forward, and we'll see. Yep. Okay. All right. So, oh yeah, I like what he said too about Shirtgate. He said that with Shirtgate, he was ridiculous, and that he could have just put on the shirt, and then he could have put on his hoodie over the shirt and just told everybody, "Hey man, I'm cold," and it would have been fine. But instead, he caused all this over a shirt. It was insane, and I'm glad that he came to that level of awareness, because that's exhausting. Nobody wants to have to deal with that all the time. She bought him a shirt, and it wasn't anything malicious that she was doing. So hopefully, like I said, he can do that level of monitoring and enunciate something that's positive and that's not going to hurt her feelings, and still be able to be Mitch at the same time. Is that it? Have I done all the couples? Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Okay. Well, sorry that you guys didn't get to hear the other stuff in the video that I said. Hopefully this one will load up. And again, I apologize. So until the next video, and thanks for being with me. And look out for the clips that I'm going to be putting up. All right.